Jason King 6598 asked Reddit. Attorneys of Reddit. When has a client's ego gotten them in trouble during court? The way Brick's aunt commented. Literally every time. I sat in a criminal court every day for a year. And more than 75% of those who were found guilty would not have been there if they had exercised their right to remain silent. Also saw a guy who wanted to exclude evidence that he was a member of a gang, but got his motion denied because he had the name of the gang tattooed on his face. Edit. Another one. A woman repeatedly said she couldn't remember various things, and said she was on a medication that affected her memory. People not recalling things is pretty common, but they usually don't have a reason like that. Didn't turn out so well when the government played a wiretap of her saying she was going to claim she didn't remember and blame it on her meds. Rebuildings commented. I saw a video of a girl who had a $5,000 fine flipped off the judge, so he increases it to $10,000. When he tells her this, she tells him to F off and then gets 2 months. Vrooms commented. IANAL but somebody I know personally admitted in court to having broke into abandoned real estate to live because he couldn't accept that he had no address. Primary residence was homeless. Constable Blimeychips commented. A couple was going through a divorce and the man talked his soon-to-be ex-wife into a settlement that was supremely beneficial to him. This year the wife would still be left with plenty of money to live on, but it was still only a small portion of their shared wealth. She signed this deal, and all the man to do was sign as well, and it would have been done. It would have taken him literally less than a minute. Instead, the man for some reason decides he wants his day in court, and he's utterly convinced the judge is going to side with him over his wife. Lawyers try desperately to get him to sign the deal he himself talked his wife into, but he refuses. Demands to go to court. The lawyers finally relent. The whole thing goes to court. They were living in a no-fault state. The woman was awarded 50% of the estate by default. The man lost millions because he wanted a judge to agree with him this year. JK Gator 11 commented. Criminal defense attorney. Basically every defendant I've ever represented. Sometimes it's stupidity mixed with an ego. Bad combination. They always think they can outsmart homicide detectives. Those cops have been practicing interrogation skills for longer than the accused has been on Earth. So many cases turn on a dumb statement to lie instead of invoking right to counsel. Often they'll want to talk over the judge and/or prosecutor when a ruling is coming. That never ends well. You get a lot of these guys saying it'll just go to trial. They'll have to give it to me, i.e. life sentence, after trial. Yes, sir, or monsieur. They can and they'll. These defendants think prosecutors and judges are bothered by going to trial or will cave with a plea at the last minute. Sometimes it works out for them, but that's a real dangerous gamble to take. Illegitimi non-carbo commented. Lil Wayne. He had his deposition taken in a case over reproduction of his concerts. He was a total jerk during the deposition, which, of course, is on video. See for yourself. https monsieuryoutube.com/watch v equals nkbtkl3z94. It's pretty awesome. He threatens opposing counsel, etc. Then he couldn't make it to the actual trial of the case. I believe he was sick. When a witness can't make it to trial, the other side can play. You guessed it, the deposition video. The jury saw this and it cost him millions. Read more here. https www.google.com/m/s/www.spin.com/lil-1-lawsuit-2012/11/verdict%3famp equals 1. Rosalie Ether commented. Obligatory I am not an attorney disclaimer, but I did used to volunteer for a local program called Teen Court. It was run by the local city courthouse and allowed teenagers who were facing charges for misdemeanor crimes to go through teen court as a diversion program and receive rehabilitation lobotomies and community service rather than time in juvie. The charge would also not go on their record. Teen court was run by local teenage volunteers after consideration and interviews, and it had an 82% rate for the defendants of never reoffending, which was double the rate for those in juvie in the city. I had one defendant once that I was representing who was an avid skier. I always encouraged my defendants to make a personal statement so that the jury might connect with them more, recognize their sincerity and go easier on them. This year the jury has the ability to give up to 100 community service hours, but they don't have to give any at all. Oftentimes how the personal statement goes greatest affects the time given. My defendant didn't even stand for his and simply said, just know that whatever time you give me is going to cut into my skiing time. He was given 100 hours and multiple lobotomies, which probably added another 20 to 30 hours on. Yellow Isaac commented, I am not a lawyer either, but a good friend is a public defender in Florida. He said he lost count of all the people that he specifically requested they not show up to court wearing any drug or alcohol-related clothing, i.e. beer or pot t-shirts, hats or shiny Budweiser jackets, for their DUI hearings. But, of course, they did. And lots of them also show up smelling like alcohol or smoke as well. All ages, races, genders. Wolfie's piece commented, slightly different scenario, but I like telling it anyway. A colleague of mine was in a family law matter. The father was the other party. He had extreme anger issues that, for obvious reasons, he tried to keep under wraps. Cross-examination begins, and my colleague has decades of experience. These issues will be made known. Plus, my colleague is a woman. He does not like women. Leading questions begin, and in no short order, he erupts. He gets out of his chair and tries to pick it up to throw it at my colleague, but it's bolted to the floor. No wonder why. No further questions, Your Honor. MRS Figo 9 commented, not a lawyer, but I am in court a lot with my job. Watched some lady talk herself into an elder abuse arrest trying to get out of a much lesser charge. Bamachex commented, IANAL. But my older brother, 50, was at his disability hearing and told the judge that this whole thing is bullshit. I died 4 times in the hospital and have been declared 100% disabled by 2 doctors. Y'all are a bunch of idiots in here. It didn't work out so well. He's waiting on the appeal. He deserves the help, but he's also a dumb bottom. I believe his lawyer told him he couldn't come to the next hearing. Not so much ego, as opposed to just being in bottom. Obwin commented, I watched a dude named Nathan Jessup get goaded into admitting to a crime while on the stand once. Macotron commented, I'll bet any one of you that you cannot read the transcript for Georgia versus Denver Fenton Allen without laughing. Skelton commented, I am an attorney but currently work as a judge's clerk. And #X200B. You have every right to fire your attorney. You can threaten to fire your attorney at any time. Threatening to do so, loudly, during voir dire, the time when all the potential jurors are present, is generally not the wisest time. Wii Music commented, not necessarily related, but when the guy starts crying because his girlfriend says, you're just mad because my peepee's bigger than yours. Lily Thieferkid commented, worked in court mediation, so not a lawyer, and saw many young men arriving with FCK authority type shirts on. It was so common that the legal aid team had been to the op shop and had a selection of more respectable shirts to lend defendants. But daily there was always at least one doofus who thought he knew better than the magistrate and would argue with him, her. It was amusing. My favorite was when the obnoxious young man was told to walk home from 10 a.m. court, to change your shirt and your attitude and be back for the afternoon sitting or be arrested and Discover the delights of Justice Hospitality. It was over 30 degrees. Australia. There was only one bus per hour, which didn't go all the way there, so he faced a long walk even if he made the next one. And he lived on the other side of town. I believe he was rather subdued when he got back. Exhausted, hot, hungry and wiser. Didn't stop him getting into trouble again, but he knew to wear a plain shirt next time. Hodaka commented, usually when they insist that they want to speak to the judge directly, you might as well hand them a shovel after the first "let me talk." Quote. Rare Long Son commented, IANAL but did serve jury duty. During voir dire, the prosecutor asked if we could vote for conviction based only on the testimony of a single police officer. The defense attorney asked if we knew how many video cameras there were at the airport. The defendant was accused of public intoxication at the airport. The prosecution brought their star witness, an airport police officer who testified the defendant was drunk at the airport. The defense attorney asked about video cameras at the airport. It turns out your every move at the airport is recorded by multiple video cameras, and the police have these recordings but decided to not bring any of them to court that day. Remember, defendants, the state has the obligation to prove you guilty, not the other way around. It is way more important what the state does not say than what you could say. Had our defendant talked, what could he possibly have said that would have convinced us he was sober at the airport? Bleeding Paper Cup commented, when hasn't it? Fly Under the Radar commented, the vast majority of comments you will get here won't be from lawyers. Barrett Potter commented, every single time, especially in family law, though it happens constantly with my criminal clients too. It's all ego and emotion. I understand why, but step back from the situation and listen when I say you're going to regret making all of your legal choices based on spite. Magicot commented, double jeopardy! https://u2.be/ekatgcmsj2g. Les Smokey commented, who would have thought of that? YME Existing commented, R. Sherlock. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell.